both the McLarens come out on track. This is round 8, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's what Saga had in here from yesterday. Alright, we are live. Hello everybody and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps for round 8, as I've just confirmed there on stream, of the Premier Series. I'm joined once again by...
X-Strategy. Hello guys, and like I say, we're here for Belgium, which should provide a really exciting race, being one of the longest tracks on the calendar, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yes, certainly, Natty. And would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen the interesting things happening in the championship standings at the moment?
Well, currently, after 7 rounds, Absolute 11 is still in the lead of the championship after only finishing 4th last week. In Britain, his lead has gone down to 23 points to Cash Dangle behind, and Frozer is fairly close in 3rd on 82 points, F1 Lover in 4th on 77, Joe in 5th on 62, closely followed by Bon Evil on 60, so that's the top 6, and yeah, it's really starting to get heated up towards the top.
And we come to a track, Natty, where it has rained at every single of the races this week. Wait to see if it will rain again during the race. We won't reveal if we do or don't know that just yet. Then I'm currently watching Absolute 11, but who the first time this season, Natty's actually come out at the beginning of qualifying, not just set a lap time right at the death of the session. There, the German making his way now down the Kemmel Straight into Le Com. Turn 4 here around this. Oh, he nearly loses the rear there actually on the entry to Le Com. Turn 4 of the 7-kilometer blast through the Ardennes forest here in Belgium. A favourite track among many real life drivers and obviously virtual ones as well here at Gavra Racing. But yeah, what do you expect from this race here, Nat? Because we haven't raced here in the Premier Series since season 1, actually. I think where I took the win there when it went from wet to dry. So what are you expecting from this race?
Yeah, I'm expecting a few incidents. Obviously, it's a long track, a very tricky one to hook up a good lap. You saw Giovinazzi go wide at a few corners in the past, especially at Pouon. That's a really tricky corner if you get on the curb. Easy to spin. Rouge and Radwan as well, two really known corners for big incidents, obviously in 2019, unfortunately losing Antoine Hubert. But it should definitely provide some great overtaking, especially at the end of the Kemmel Straight, maybe into the bus stop as well, possibly turn 1. So I'm really looking forward to it. It was a great race in the Premier Series the last time we've done this, like you say, back in season 1, so I'm looking forward to what these drivers have got in store tonight.
Yeah, and drivers starting to put their first lap times in then. Cash Dangle, second in the championship at the moment, goes through provisional pole on the 1 minute 42.7. I expect next we're going to see times a lot faster than that. Pole time in the academy this week was a 42.2 set by your championship leader over there, Leo Cat, in the his own online time trial car. Just to run you through any changes to the grid today. We've got Billy Misu, the first ever Romanian to compete in Gavra Racing, substituting for Hakan Nizamoglu in the racing point. And we also have V. Roby making a step up from the academy. He will be competing today in the shoes of GSY Bates up until Singapore, I believe it is, so we'll get GSY Bates back in the Williams. So a chance for Roby to prove himself, to prove that he is a competent and very fast driver in the main leagues here at Gavra Racing. Shankster now, a man who has not had a lot of luck here in the Premier Series this season, goes into P2 now, 1 minute 42.8. Still got 12 minutes left to go here, Natty, and I think we're going to see big improvements in the times as we go forward in the session.
Yeah, definitely. As the track evolves and the rubber starts getting laid down, we should start seeing some faster times. But overall, despite being such a long lap, we've got a pretty close quali session. The top 3 only separated by 2/10, and then from there it's only about a second from first to about 9th or 10th, so still got really good and close competitive times coming in.
Yeah, certainly. And one of the things about this track, Natty, is because it's so long, it's a very intense qualifying here. There's not really a chance to breathe. You do a flying lap, come back in, go straight out again, because you just can't afford to waste time getting hung up on an out lap here. You will lose too much time. As Bonnie now actually goes to the pole position for 1 minute 42.7, 200ths ahead of Cash Dangle, although I'm not going to spectate her because she has the revving glitch. But yeah. Shanks has invalidated his most recent times. He'll be coming back into the pits now. Actually, I think they have drivers coming in just after their first runs. There's the two Red Bulls queuing in the pit lane there. Thunder and Wolfie currently 6th and 10th respectively for the two Irishmen down there at Red Bull. Gonna get the UI off the screen. You can have a look into the pit. That's actually a very cool shot. Seeing the cars being pushed back into the various garages. We'll just stay on this for a little while, I think.
Yeah, I think everyone's come out of the pits immediately. Ted's just invalidated his flying lap. A lot of people, everyone is pretty much in the pits. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers, sorry, 6 drivers now out on the track. His Hillite's starting his out lap, currently going down the Kemmel Straight. But yeah, Napier, the only one on the medium tyres so far, currently in 10th place. Might be trying to do something different in the race.
Yeah, certainly. We'll talk about strategy after the session is finished, but might be a bit of a bold strategy from Napkin. We know he likes to try something different, and he's definitely not afraid of trying a conscious strategy or two, but we'll have to wait and see if that plays out, or if indeed he actually decides to stick to that particular plan. But as you say, Natty currently in a very respectable position there in P10. So just a bit of a quiet patch at the moment. We're not going to have any cars completing laps anyway for a while. Roby's just come out of the pits now on a fresh set of the soft tyres. Absolute 11 follows him out as they make their way through Rouge and Magion. Those of you who are fans of WTF1 will know that Rouge is actually the bit at the bottom, and Rouge is the fast right and left-hander as we go up the hill. But anyway, enough plugging for WTF1. We don't need to plug them. Oh yeah, it's just looking through the cars here. Ooh. And
I've just had a quick look on the race director, and Joe's actually got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Cash Demo.
Oh dear, that could also mean Joe picks up an LLP penalty maybe for next race if the stewards deem him to have been impeding Cash Stengel's lap there, or if it was the other way around, then we have to rejig some things, have a look at that as well. But Joe, one-time winner here in the Premier Series, currently in the Racing Point, cheekily known as the Pink Mercedes. But what do you make of Joe's season so far, Natty? I think came into it with aspirations of winning the title. Obviously those aspirations are still possible mathematically, but what do you think, Natty? Do you think he'll be able to pull it off?
There's going to be some good results in the final 5 races of the season, well, 6 including this one, but it's really been an up-down season for Joey. He had a DNF in Bahrain, scored 2nd place in China, and then kind of went downhill a little bit, but then got the win in Canada, good performance in Austria, and then retired in Silverstone. So hopefully it's a good race for him tonight in Belgium.
And talking about Joe, we'll ride on board with him then and give you a commentated lap as he makes his way through Raguillon Rouge. Rouge a bit at the bottom now. We flick our way up the top, flat out in 8th gear and over the crest and onto the Kemmel Straight. DRS opens for the 2nd time here at Spa-Francorchamps. We make our way now down towards the Com. Turns 4 and 5 here in Belgium. Braking just before the 50 meter board, slinging it in 4th gear. Take as much of the curve as you can. And Joe is really getting aggressive there with the track limits. Try and balance the throttle now through Malmedy and down towards Bruxelles. The car will drift out here as he turns into the first apex and will short shift now with Joe in the Racing Point to 4 and into No Name, which ironically gives it a name over the curb. Joe really getting it hooked up now on this lap. This could be a big improvement from the British driver, and through Pouon clearly flat out in 7th gear. Tiny lift there for Joe as he makes his way through Pouon now, and now towards I forgot what the name of this corner is, Fania, where Lewis Hamilton had his crash in FP2 in 2019. Out of the right chicane and into Stavelot, gets over the curb there. Careful not to invalidate on the exit. It's on the fastest middle sector of absolutely anybody. This could be a storming lap here from Joe as he looks to reconsolidate himself at the front of the championship standings now, and through the final couple of corners here. And there's a pass in the way, but that's going to stay off the racing line very nicely for us as we head up towards the bus stop chicane. Break just after the 100 meter board, slam down through the gears. A little bit of a lock up there on the front right that might have compromised Joe's run now on the exit of the corner. DRS open once again for Joe to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 42.7 and he goes into P2, Natty, but crucially not into provisional pole position.
Yeah, only 4 thousandths of the time by the provisional pole, so to Bonneville. Cash Demo as well is on a good lap here, 10th and a half up through the middle sector, setting the fastest middle sector as well, as he approaches the bus stop chicane. As Absolute goes to provisional pole, but it's so close up top, and can Cash Demo knock them a pole? It is 1:42.3 for the Alfa Romeo driver, 4 tenths clear at the minute.
And that is a big statement from Cash Stengel. They're going to P1 by 0.3 of a second from Ben Roberts, who popped up onto the front row of the grid there as well. That is a very, very good lap from the Dutchman, as he looks to fight back now in the championship after absolutely taking that early lead in the first 7 or 8 rounds of the season. Wolfie starting a lap as well. Let's see if there's anyone towards the end of a lap. Spaniel's gone into P14 there, I think. Oh no, sorry, starting another lap now. Let's have a look at the Mercedes who are coming round to finish their lap. Shankster now, what can he do? He goes to pole position. 1 minute 42.0, so we're on the fringes then of the 1 minute 41s. That is where we expect the Super League times to be tomorrow here. Now, so Shankster showing very, very strong pace here at the moment.
Yeah, it's a really good lap from the Mercedes driver. 0.3 clear of Cash Stengel behind. Still really close up top, and maybe we might see a few drivers get into the 1 minute 41s in this race.
Bonnie's a bit wide through No Name and now down towards Pujon. Can she get it hooked up? She can! That is a beautiful line through Pujon there for the Englishwoman. And towards Fania. The right, left, right chicane, take it in 5th gear. You can use more of the curb there on the inside. Bonnie's choosing to use a bit centre in the track as well, to make the front end not as hooked up on that AlphaTauri as she would like. And down the hill now through Stanford. She's 5/10 up though now, so clearly the setup is working there, and we just don't know what we're talking about. And through the final sector now coming up towards Blanchimont, the flat out left-hander in the final sector. Thank you to all 31 of you watching. We'll have a look at the chat in just a moment. Bonivel now coming towards the line. I think she's got damage somewhere on that car, Natalie, but I don't think it's going to stop the Englishwoman now. She goes round the final corner of the bus stop. DRS open once again to the line for Bonnie, and it is... Oh, it's not pole position. It's up by 0.02 of a second there, Natty. As you can see on the telemetry there, she does have a red spanner, which indicates that there's damage somewhere on that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, still a pretty good lap from Bonivel despite the damage. Only so close to the 41s. I reckon we'll get a time in the 41s in this quali session. Still got 4 minutes to go, so at least one more lap from the drivers to go.
Yeah, and Shankster there looking to stop Cash Stengel's recent run of pole position. I think he's taken pole positions in 3 of the last 4 races or something like that. It's Ted now also on a lap, but he has got the red spanner and red fuel marker, sorry. So he's got damage and is running low on fuel, which is not the best conditions in which to be setting a good flying lap. Speaking of good flying laps, let's see if Nakula's on one. The pink helmet in tribute to Antoine Hubert, as he comes up ragging on now, the place where he sadly lost the French driver in Formula 2 in 2019. Has done the fastest first sector of anybody here, so Nakula finding some pace then. Has slipped back after that unfortunate spin last time out in Silverstone. Scored no points after that, so we'll definitely be looking to bounce back here in Belgium. This looks to be a very good lap so far. Nakula really going to get hooked up through No Name. Ooh, a bit of oversteer there on exit, but keeps it all together as we head down towards Puyon now. With the Haas driver, runs it right on the ragged edge of the track limits there. Careful not to invalidate. What can Nakula do now through the middle sector? The more technical part of the lap, you could argue. A lot of high-speed, long radius corners. And now through the second sector split, what's it going to be? He's 9 cents up on his lap time here, Natty. It could be enough, maybe for the front row, if he can continue that kind of trajectory through the rest of the lap. Nakula, who's had some bad luck, it must be said, did that amazing move around the outside of Cops, which actually ran the overtake of the week last week then. But on board of Nakula through the bus stop chicane and round the final corner, it's going to be DRS open to the line for the finish drive. What's it going to be? It's P4, 1 minute 42.5. That is a very good lap time from Nakula. I don't think he'll get a chance to set another one here because the lap is so long.
Yeah, good lap time. 42.5 is definitely not a bad time. Only 5/10 of pole position at the minute, which is currently held by Shankster. But with just under 2 minutes to go, we're starting to see drivers coming out on their outlaps to set their final flying lap. and we should see the quickest times of the session coming in now.
Yeah, and Absolute's had a bad exit onto his laps that may have compromised his lap time a bit, and he's had a bad run through the source as well. Then that's getting wide on exit, but now there's going to be traffic in the form of Ted right on the racing line, and that's going to be a hindrance to Absolute 11, I'm sure. But he's actually going to get a bit of slipstream here, is he? No, he's invalidated, Natty. Absolute 11 will start 6th at best for this race.
Yeah, and with a minute 18 seconds out, he's definitely not going to be able to get round in time for another lap.
Let's see what Ben Roberts can do then in the Ferrari in the first sector. Coming up to the first sector split now, we'll see what it is, and he is up by just under a tenth for the lock-up into Lacon there, and he's invalidated as well here, Natty. So easy to do around this track, and Thunder going through the middle sector, someone who we haven't really talked about yet in this qualifying session. We've got yellows in sector 2. There's a hat of track. That's Natty. There's another car wall riding the wall. Was that guillotine or was that Absolute 11? It looked like it was a white car. And there's been a massive crash in the middle sector. I think it was Absolute 11 there, Natty.
Might have been. It's hard to tell. I know there's a Ferrari off as well. I think that Ben Roberts being the only Ferrari driver, so either a lot of drivers retiring or a lot of drivers are getting it all wrong down at P1. Sander is close to finishing his lap. He's got Cashtango behind on an outlap, all trying to get round, but will Cashtango get to the line? I'm not sure.
Oh,
he's determined to make it.
There's only 7 seconds left here, Natty. You're right. As a Cashtango coming round the final corner as one. He's not going to make it, Natty. He's not going to make it. That's it. So Cashtango and Bonival have not made it to the line, which means unless something goes drastically wrong for Shankster or Nightblood finds a way to put some more fuel in that Haas, it looks like Shankster will be on pole here.
Unless I think Joe was able to start a lap. F1 Lovers 8 tenths up on his time going through the middle sector, so this could be a good lap from the Alfa Romeo driver. And having 10th place at the minute. Just
looking at the Ghanaian now as he makes his way through Blanchimont and towards the bus stop chicane. Oh, there's a crash! Oh. And V Roby on the racing line has gone into F1 Lover. That's an abrupt end to that qualifying session. As Tiger Assassin has had to navigate the stricken Alfa Romeo, he's 2 tenths off on his time now. Tiger Assassin in the McLaren, what can he do? Can he go into the top 10? Yes, he can! 1 minute 43.0, and Tiger puts himself up into P9.
And Joe's invalidated on his lap, so that's going to be the end of this quali session. I don't think Shankster is on a lap, and he appears to be improving.
41.8. Go on.
And Napula slowly coming through Blanchimont with no fuel. And I think that's going to be the quali session over.
I think that is as well. What a time there from Shankster. The last time we had a race here in the Premier Series, the person who started on pole also won the race, so that bodes well for Shankster then. Currently sits in P1, a lot better than the last time we were at this track in the Premier Series for the German. But we will take you through the entire grid and the strategy today in just a moment then. So, Shankster taking a pole position here in the Ardennes. Bonival makes up the front row in second place, with Cashtango in third, Napula fourth, Ben Roberts fifth, and Absolute 11 down in sixth. Joe XX with that 5 position penalty will drop back outside of the top 10. Frozer in 8th. Tiger Assassin, great qualifying from him, up in 9th. And Thunder 50-50 in 10th. F1 Lover starting just outside the top 10 once again in 11th. JMB Surreal in 12th. Wolfie 13th. Guillotine on his return in 14th. Ted 15th. Spanel 16th. V Roby 17th. And then Billy, the only driver to have not set a time in the Racing Point, he will start 18th and last for today's race. So then, Natty, well, we're about to find out what we already know, but it's going to rain for the first part of this race, basically.
Yeah, intermediate conditions for the start of the race, unless it's light enough to start on the dry tyres, which can happen. We saw it in Monza last season in the Super League. We just have to wait and see what the game gives us.
And it is raining, so that gives us a chance then to go have a look in the chat. Hello to Brad's Dunks. I think that's the first time I've personally seen you in the chat, so welcome to Gavra Racing. Hello to Gavra. I don't know if that's Tiger or Valado Harris. Hello to you. Hello, Woody. That's you, Natty, saying hello for some reason. To Edgton, by the way, saying hello on about Academy Series drivers. And Roby as well. Wet starts the race, just confirming that. Thunder saying wet to dry. Oh, well, they've already ruined it, basically. Thank you, Premier Series drivers. Robert Codfather just missed out on points yesterday. That unfortunate spin for him. Dan saying Tiger better win. Yeah, he better win. I hope he wins. But we won't. Well, no, we're not biased. We're not biased, obviously. Guillotine for the title, says Aston. Maybe for best crash, Aston. Tekka saying go on, Bill. I was cheering on Billy Meesey there, the replacement driver in the Racing Point. Nakla saying 0.6 up before he half spun, so that would have been comfortably enough for pole position. As Bonivel's disconnected off the front row of the grid here, Natty. Ooh, that could be
try
big.
and send a quick invite before the race gets going.
Dan saying well done, Joe, cheering on his mate from school. Aston saying not bad, Shanks. Yes, definitely not bad for Shanks. I mean, he's on pole position, so that's definitely a good thing for him. Thunder saying that traffic ruined his lap. That's unfortunate. Tiger iVelocity as well, saying yes, Tiger. Obviously a Tiger fan there. Nakula, wasn't too bad of a lap, to be honest, on your return. Oh, it's Gavra. Gavra is Tiger saying hi. Hello to Mares as well, who looks very, very quick and is your Super League points leader at the moment then. But we're not here to talk about the Super League. We are here to talk about the Premier Series, and we are underway here on what is going to be the longest formation lap of the year.
Yeah, Spa in the wet. It does take quite some time, but some flashbacks to the first Premier Series race where it poured down, full wet conditions.
And then you savagely took out one shoots you down on the last lap. No, I'm not having that. For those of you who want to know what I'm on about, go and watch the Premier Series race from Season 1 here in Belgium on the last lap, and you'll see. It was here, wasn't it? When they're coming through now, Natty. On the right down to Poo
on the right. And then again on the left, and after Poo on.
You love to see it. Well, I mean, you didn't love to see it, but I did. It was quite funny. Tekka saying Natty was scared for his life after the safety car incident. Oh, hello, Dutch. Yes, you are just in time. Well done, Cryptech. I don't know. I don't know what you want us to. Very well done for being in the 1 minute 46s. Hello, Holland Campion as well, Yordi. Hello. I hope you are not joining us from work. But yeah, on the formation lap here still, as I was saying, we're just waffling now because we're running out of things to say. This formation lap is so long. Bonivel still ghosted, by the way, so she hasn't been able to rejoin in time, which is unfortunate for her, unless she has, and I'm just not paying attention, which is entirely possible. But Shank's actually backing up the grid here, for once, seeing that in the Premier Series. Good evening, Daz, as well. Yes, it is a wet race, Cryptech. You are very observant, clearly. I do like street waffles, Jordi. So then, Shankster pulling into his pole position grid slot. Hopefully, sometime soon.
Yeah, this has been the longest formation lap ever.
Yeah. I don't think the slippery conditions or the fact that this track is 7 kilometers long are particularly helping with that, as V-Roby assumes his final grid position there, and we're going to get going for 22 laps around Spa-Francorchamps, some of which will be wet, some of which will be bone dry, and we will get going here in a minute. When the lights go out, the revs will build, and we'll be underway here for the Belgian Grand Prix, and we are go. Lights are out, away we go. Shanks has had a bad start off the grid, and Cass now challenging the Mercedes into turn 1, but Shanks moves into the middle of the track with a bad camera angle here to really watch anything from, as here comes Napler around the outside of Shankster into the source, and there's cars all over, they're 4-5 wide. Someone's gone off, but there might be a Williams involved with that as well, but Napler takes the lead as we go into Eau Rouge for the first time. Napler leads in the Haas away from Shanster up the hill, but Absolute 11 now in third position is challenging Shanster as he heads down the Kemmel Straight. Yellow's in sector 1, and we already had a crash here down at the back. I can't see the battle for the lead because of the interval gaps, as Napula still leads then from Shanster in second. Absolute 11 moving up to third off the start as the intervals between begin to work themselves out. But crucially here, Natty haven't had any retirements so far on lap 1. Very well behaved from all of the Premier Series drivers here.
Yeah, I saw Emplate off at turn 1. I'm trying to find out who it was. It's Wolfie. Wolfie has got front right end plate damage on his Red Bull. That's unfortunate for him. Currently down in 18th. I think the intervals have just sorted themselves out. V Roby, the Williams, one good start from him up into 11th place.
Great start. We saw cars going 4 or 5 wide in the background there as well as Billy Meesey now gets past Bon Evil's AI, who shamefully, who has not been able to reconnect to the session. But look at the gap. Napula has already 1.7 seconds now on Shanster in second, and now Absolute 11 is challenging the Mercedes. I don't think Shanster has the right setup on for these conditions now. As Absolute 11 is all over him through the final sector. He's going to go for a move bit into Blanchimont. He needs to get on with it here, Natty, and repair his championship leader. Currently stands at 23 points. Has come down. And last couple of races, but Absolute's in the wall. Absolute spun at Blanchimont. He's in the wall. He's got front wing damage now. And here comes Ben Roberts on the inside into the bus stop chicane. And Absolute has to let him go here. Does he try and go back into the pits? No, Absolute stays out with that wing damage, and that could be massive for the championship.
That's going to be huge, and we saw the amount of time people were losing yesterday with no front wing in the dry, so Absolute Level's going to lose a lot of time in the wet. Here comes V Roby down the inside of the Red Bull. I believe that is Thunder. The interview gaps are just messing up a little bit for me, but the Red Bull stays ahead of the Williams for now. But yeah, Absolute 11, sorry, what a good start from him.
Yeah, 2.3 seconds now back to Cash Stengel. Joe picking up a 3-second time penalty as well, somewhere in there. Had a bit of a passionate voice break there. Ben as well trying to get past Shanster as the intervals have, yeah, I was going to let that sort itself out. Hang on a minute. Yeah, Napula's still leading, isn't he? Just checking.
Yeah.
Alright then, yep, there we go. Oh no, so there's a 10th behind Wolfie now. Oh, if Wolfie was in the lead, he'd have an absolutely massive gap, but Absolute 11 is currently holding up Cash Stengel, and he's wide again here, Natty. That's going to give Froza a chance now as well. Into Puon, they're going to go wheel to wheel through Puon, are they? No, Absolute 11 backs out with that front wing damage. That was a wise choice there from the German. He's just slipping back through the field though here, Natty. Has to come into the pits and repair that damage. Now under pressure from Tiger Assassin in the McLaren here as well.
Yeah, overall it's been I'd say a clean start. We haven't had any major collisions. Unfortunately for Wolf, we have got that front right damage.
As Thunder getting past V Roby while all of this is going on. The Dutch replacement driver, Hungarian, replacement driver trying to get past the Irishman. In the final set, he's going to go for a move around the outside into Blanchimont. Decides to back out of it though in the Williams and towards the bus stop chicane. What is V Roby going to do here? Oh, Shanster and Ben Roberts, having a battle through the final part of the lap. Shanster really struggling in the wet here. 3.5 seconds are out in front. The gap between Cash Stengel and Napula.
And Absolute 11 decides to come into the pits then to repair the damage and for another set of intermediates. Maybe he tried thinking about staying out until the dry period, but it looks like he's losing too much time and decides to come in for the wing change.
And Ben Roberts now really putting Shanster under pressure as they make their way onto the Kemmel Straight for the third time in this race. What can the Ferrari do about the Mercedes in front? Uses a bit of the overtake button, tucks back into the slipstream though, and doesn't go for the move just yet.
And Joe also into the pits for a front wing damage, so picks that up somewhere. Unfortunate for the racing point driver, so two drivers with the wing damage, three drivers with wing damage. Bon Evil, I don't know if she's joined back or not, it doesn't look like it. But yeah, Napula already 3.7 seconds in the lead of this race.
Yeah, certainly he's had the absolute DRS enabled? DRS enabled? Yellow's in sector 1? Have they pitted for dry tyres here, Nat? No, they've pitted for intermediates, but DRS, Natty, enabled on lap 3. With intermediates on.
I mean, it still looks pretty wet for DRS to be enabled.
But I've never seen that before.
That's quite an interesting call from the game.
Yeah. 3 tenths now separate Ben Roberts and Shankster. As Ben's trying to make this move on the German. 1/10 now separates the two. Can Ben go for a move here on his championship rival into the boss? Which going to look to the outside line, breaks later. Then Shanks are going to go round the outside, turn to the inside for the next corner. Shanks is in. Shanks is into the pits, Natty. Is this for slicks? Frozer follows him. So that's going to be a queuing in the pit lane then for the two Mercedes cars.
And it's for the softs.
That's interesting. I'd have thought going to the end on hards. Oh, Shanks has been held and that's ruined Frozer. Or how do you know those? Sorry, that's just lag. Sorry, excuse me.
Thunder's also in for the soft tyres, so 3 drivers. There's a Renault as well coming into the pits. And that's Spaniel in for, I'm assuming, dry tyres. It's the soft tyres as well, so
yeah,
a 2-stop.
It stopped raining, Natty. It stopped raining completely. Oh, F1 Lover has also done the fastest first sector of anybody, so it just goes to show how much the track is drying out. And now, Natty, all of those drivers who have stayed out on the intermediates are going to start to burn through those tyres. Shankster is already gaining by a massive margin now on Billy Misu in front of him, who's on those intermediates. And J&B, Cyril and Ted having a bit of a ding-dong battle here into Malmedy and now down the hill towards Bruxelles. And Ted's gone a bit wide. That could give J&B, Cyril a chance into the next corner, but backs out of going for a move on the inside. Shankster is already past Billy Misu, and he's got past J&B Surreal as well. J&B going wide. Shanks has got so much grip on those soft tyres, now tucked up behind Ted, gonna pull to the inside as we head into Pouon, and Ted doesn't even bother to fight this here, Natty. Shanks goes up into P8.
And well, this is going to be so unfortunate for Absolute 11, Joe and Wolfie, who all tried staying out an extra lap till the, well, I'm assuming till the dry period, decided to pit, and now they've had to make another pit stop for the dry tyres, so they're already a pit stop behind everyone else. And well, that's really unfortunate for those guys, but it's going to be interesting to see where the likes of Shanks to come out, who pitted for the dry tyres a lap early compared to Ben Roberts, Cash Stengel and Napula, who are all coming into the pits.
Well, yeah, and at the time when Napula came into the pit, Shankster was only 20.9 seconds behind. The pit lane delta here is about 21 seconds, I think, Natty. So Shankster could be on the verge of taking the lead back of this race. Oh, look at the crash!
In the pit lane.
And Guillotine's crashed at pit entry and he's been disqualified! Oh dear. Okay, so what does that do for Shanks? Those Shanks are going through turn 1. Nappa's coming out of the pits now. He's still ahead of Shanks, but only just. But look at the ground that Shanks has made on Napula.
Yeah, I mean, he's undercut Ben Roberts and Cash Stengel.
And Frozen's got past Ben Roberts as well. Ben on the hards, Cash Stengel also back out on the hards. They're going to the end of this race, I think, here, Nat.
Yeah, we've got a real mix-up in strategy now. We saw this in Austria, the mix between the one-stop and the two-stop. The one-stop came out on top in the end. And well, it's going to be interesting to see how Napula Shankster can do on those mediums and softs.
It certainly will, as F1 Lover getting past Tiger Assassin into Lacombe. Nothing that Tiger could do there to defend from the Alfa Romeo with the DRS, and the Slipstream getting past his rival. He actually picks up a 3-second time penalty at Malmedy there for track extending. F1 Lover then having a big lock up into Bruxelles. That keeps everything nice and together on track, but Shankster closing in now on Napula in the battle for the lead. I'm going to change that back to the interval gap so you can actually see what's going on in the race.
Yeah, Shankster now within DRS of Napula on those fresher soft tyres, the fastest second sector of anyone, and I'm assuming Napula, could he go to the end on those mediums, 15 laps?
That would take them to the end of their line. They can go 15 laps, the game says. He would have to take them about 17 laps. Well, we all know that Napula's a fan of doing something a bit different, so if anyone can eke those tyres out to the end of the race, it is definitely him. DRS now for Shankster in his pursuit of Napula. Shankster, who obviously started on pole, led for about the first 200 metres, then Napula got past him. 9/10 of a second now, 8/10 separates the two, so they head their way through Rouge and up Radion now, over the hill on board with the Mercedes. DRS will be open now for the German. What can Napula do to defend? I think Shankster may be a little bit too far back here to have a go into Lecom. But we'll wait and see. Under braking as Shankster was gaining, but not by enough. Joe sets a new fastest lap of the race. That's a very quick time there in the racing point. He's actually made a move on his teammate there for 13th position. Thunder, though, is closing on Ben Roberts here, Natty, and a real turn of face here for Thunder.
Yeah, Thunder up into 6th place. Has gained a few positions in this race from the start. But, yeah, I can't wait to see how this one's going to play out. We saw how it worked in Austria. We saw the one stop was definitely better than the two stop. So for Rosen and Shankster, I'm assuming they're going to go on to another, well, maybe a set of mediums after this soft stint. So yeah, safety car will definitely help out a strategy later on.
But that's the thing here, Nats, because the race start was confirmed as wet, Shankster does not have to use 2 different compounds of tyre to complete the race. High velocity, absolute 11 is the championship leader. He's currently down in P15 and stuck behind Billy Misu. But one person not going to be stuck behind someone else for much longer is Shankster. He's looking to make a move on Napula now into the final chicane. Can't go for the move. Oh, speaking of Billy Misu, he's gone off at Pouon. But now our 2 leaders as we ride on board with the helicopter shot. Lovely stuff. As we head down the main straight once again in towards La Source. Shankster takes back fastest lap of the race from Joe then. As we head through turn 1 and now down towards turns 2 and 3. The infamous Rouge Radion complex. Shankster in the slipstream of the car in front. He's gaining all the time. It's only half a second now between the 2 front runners. I'm going to take the UI off the screen here so we can see this overtake in its full glory. DRS will be open for the German driver as we head down the Kemmel Straight now on board with the Mercedes. Can he make a move into Lecom? Just a bit too far back here. Nancy, not close enough is Shankster.
Yeah, Shankster on those fresher softs has a tyre compound, better tyre compound than Napula. Thunder getting the move done on Ben Roberts at the end of the Kemmel Straight, up into 5th place on those fresher softs compared to Ben Roberts hard. So Ben Roberts going to the end of this race, along with a few other drivers.
And when we've been doing any practice with Thunder, he's looked like he's very, very quick. On those longer race runs, really feels like he gets embedded with the car quite quickly on the higher fuel. And he's really showing it now, and he's closing the gap to Frozer as well. So Thunder with really, really good pace here this evening.
Yeah, currently in 5th place at the minute. Has gained 4 positions from his starting position. So he's doing well up in 5th place at the minute. But has Frozer 3.1 seconds ahead of him to close in on.
And Shankster now, he's so close to the back of Nat that I'm going to see a move into the final chicane. He's later on the brakes as well, but just nowhere that he can go for a move at the moment here, Nat. He needs to make the most of these soft tyres. They won't have life forever, and needs to use his tyre advantage now really to get past Napula. But Cass is also looking hungry in the background as well, so don't rule him out of an overtaking chance either. As on to lap 8 they go, but nearly at the halfway stage of this race. Thunder does the fastest lap of the race out of nowhere. And now up the hill once again. Napula on the overtake button. Shanks is on it now as well, but DRS will be open for the Mercedes. It's closer than he has in the last couple of laps. Napula will have to go defensive to try and keep this move. Shanks will look to the inside line. Napula doesn't defend, and Shankster then moves himself up into the lead of the race. When they go wheel to wheel, and there's nearly contact. There is contact. Napula does a half spin, but Shankster just about keeps the position.
That was close to disaster for the Haas driver of Napula on those medium tyres. Best for him now to possibly just try and stay with Shankster, make him use those soft tyres, and maybe Napula might nurse his mediums to the end of the race, stay within the DRS and keep with him until Shankster needs to pit.
But we've seen this kind of miscommunication before between drivers. Shankster and Tiger in Austria, remember, having that tussle in the downhill turn 6, and that resulted in a penalty for the German. But Napper now, I think he's just dropping back into this gap between himself and Cash Dengel. That gap's about 2.5 seconds in. Napper just needs to look after his tyres, get those to the end of the race. That has to be his priority now.
Yeah, if he is going to the end, he should possibly start thinking of nursing those tyres. He's got about 18 laps to do on those tyres. Obviously those laps have come down since, but yeah, it's going to be interesting where Cash Dangle is in all of this. Only 2 seconds behind Napier, 2.7 seconds on those hard tyres. I'm assuming he's going to the end, so towards the end of the stint, it's going to be interesting to see that gap.
Yes, and whilst Thunder has been very quick, he hasn't been able to break the DRS to Ben Roberts. He now sits on the rear wing of that Red Bull as they go through turn 1. Can Ben Roberts make a move back on Thunder in the battle for 5th at the moment? But behind that though, Natty, there's a big train from V Roby down to about Spannel there in that battle for P8.
Yeah, Spannel is closer to Tiger than Tiger is to V Roby, who's fallen out the DRS. Spannel is a lot closer going up Eau Rouge and Radion with the overtake and the DRS. This should be an easy pass for the Renault, and it gets up into 9th place.
It nearly was a very hard crash into the barrier there for the Renault, but gets the move done on Tiger and goes up into P9.
Yeah, and Spannel on those soft tyres compared to Tiger's hards, you'd assume that the Renault has got more grip than the McLaren, but Napula's only just now fallen outside of the DRS to Shankster, but crucially could be going to the end of the race.
And Absolute 11 getting past Ted there and pushing his Alpha Tauri now up into P12. Going to be a bit of a recovery drive damage limitation for Absolute 11. This could be a race actually where he loses a big chunk of his championship lead.
Yeah, definitely. It's well, Cash Dangle might not know this, but he's currently down in 12th place, and the gap being only 23 points, it's definitely looking good for Cash Dangle in this race. Taking home 15 points as things stand, we'll be gaining a lot of those points back in the championship.
Well, we'll close the deficit to about 8 points, Natty, and that would be massive in the championship if it were to stay like this. So Cass will be I'm sure smiling underneath that visor at the moment, just taking it very easy in 3rd position. No reason to really push up in front because Shanks will have to make another stop, and Nat's tyres will probably go off towards the end of the race. So if I want to be anyone right now on the grid, I'd want to be Cash Dangle.
If there's someone who I wouldn't want to be, it's Thunder 50/50, who's actually under pressure from Ben Roberts, who's got really good pace on those hard tyres compared to Thunder Softs. He's going at it now. It looks like he's going to try and get the move going with the DRS and the overtake. Thunder doesn't defend the inside. Here goes the Ferrari. It pulls up alongside and is ahead of Thunder going into the braking zone.
Good strong move there from Ben. Goes into 5th position. 2.8 seconds now to Frozer. Those softs look like they're going off a little bit. I think Joe's on the fast lap of the race again, but it's actually come into the pits. So Joe in the pits then from 16th position. He'll be putting on a set of the medium tyres and going to the end of the race. And yeah, unfortunate for Joe, had that wing damage at the start and pitted a lap before it went dry along with Wolfie and Absolute 11. So yeah, they realistically need a safety car now for their particular evenings. Absolute 14 seconds behind the next car. This is really not...
Thunder's round!
No.
And went wide at the exit. I have no idea what that corner's called, but it's the one after Giovinazzi had his incident at. Gone wide onto the gravel, and then his Red Bull round into a spin. Lucky not to hit the barrier. But those soft tyres look like they're starting to go off a bit. Yeah, well, Absolute 11 was 14 seconds behind the next car. I think he's probably about 10 seconds behind now, so that'd be good news for him. Rose has come into the pits then off those soft tyres. That's interesting there from the Dutchman. Goes on to a set of the mediums. This will be to the end of the race, but for Thunder, that is hugely unfortunate for him. He was doing so well, but obviously with that spin at Stavelot, is going to drop himself out of the points and does come into the pits as well. So the softs, Natty, only looking like they're good enough for about 5 or 6 laps. Yeah, it looks like all for mediums, so maybe trying to just get the most out of those soft tyres and the most out of the mediums rather than taking the soft tyres, 8, 9, 10 laps and then taking the mediums only about 7, 8 laps. Maybe just trying to optimise the life on each tyre. But this is going to be interesting for Shankster, who's currently still on those soft tyres from lap 4 when it dried up. It'll be interesting to know when he pits and whether he goes into a set of soft tyres or a set of mediums.
We've got about 11 laps left to run here, so halfway through the Belgian Grand Prix here in the Premier Series, and well, Shanks won't be able to go to the end of the race, obviously, on those tyres. The gap kind of stabilised at about 1.6, 1.7 seconds now between himself and Napula. But as we've seen, Natty, the tyres don't seem to be hanging on for the drivers on the softs, but Shanks are keeping it all together at the moment in the Mercedes W11. Let's get another beautiful helicopter shot there of the black Mercedes blasting its way through the Ardennes forest. Thunder picks up another 3-second time penalty, and Shankster is into the pits, Natty. So I was going to say, if you wanted another reason to not want to be Thunder 50-50 this particular evening, there's one.
And I reckon Shankster will filter out, maybe in between V Roby or Tiger, possibly just ahead of the Williams. It could be pretty close. But that promotes Cash Deng and Ben Robertson to the podium.
We'll wait and see then. So Shankster behind F1 Lover. I think it's going to be exactly where you said, Natty, behind F1 Lover, but ahead of the Williams of V Roby. The hunt is on for Shankster now. 10 laps to go. Fresh medium tyres. What can the German do?
10 laps, 16 seconds. Fresh mediums. And well, it's going to be interesting to compare Cash Deng and Napula's pace as well, those mediums and the hards, but don't count Shankster out of this race. We saw how powerful F1 Lover was in Silverstone on those fresher soft tyres, so Shankster on fresh mediums should be a similar story here.
Yeah, the two Renaults very close together on track as well. Here will we see some team orders between JMB Surreal and Spanel. Spanel had a bad exit off of Radion there. That's going to give his teammate a run down the Kemmel straight, but not close enough to have a go, is he? Spanel doesn't make it easy for his teammates, so we could see a bit of an inter-team battle between the two of them. As Absolute's actually back up into 9th position now after that sequence of pit stops on those hard tyres. Looks to be going to the end of the race. Big lock-up from JMB Surreal into Bruxelles, though. And down the hill towards Pujon. And still nothing that he's able to do, but Frozer is very close to the back of Tiger as well as he head our way into the final sector. Frozer looking to have very strong pace now on these medium tyres. Tiger finds himself in P7, but on those old hards, and he won't be much of a match for the Mercedes. It looks to the inside into Blanchimont, and Frozer gets past Tiger and go wheel to wheel almost. Frozer gets to move done before the bus stop chicane then, and the Dutchman moves himself now up into P7.
Good move from the Mercedes, but something that's quite interesting. Cash Deng and Napula's times are fairly similar to one another, only maybe a tenth or 2 tenths separating the two in their past 5 or 6 laps, but that gap is still around the 3-second mark. It's going up and down here and there, but it says Cash Deng was 4 tenths up at his time, so maybe he's trying to start to push now, put the Haas driver under a little bit of pressure.
Well, this is when Cass will want to start ramping up the pace and pushing Napula into using more of the grip in those medium tyres to get to, the medium tyres to get to the end of the race, which will in turn inhibit his ability to make the end of the race on those tyres. As Tigers tried to fight back in his battle with Frozer, but to no avail at the moment. Shankster chasing down F1 Lover still. The gap is 2.2 seconds between them. As I say, that's just come down to 2 seconds now. So Shanks looking to get on the disc in the final stages of this race. I feel like this race will hot up towards the end here, Natty, where we have all of the cars converging on different tyre strategies.
Yeah, definitely, as the gap is coming down from Cash Deng to Napula. Now 2.7 seconds, 2.6. Shankster sets the fastest middle sector, so he's absolutely flying on those mediums, but the gap, he's only gained a second this lap. And he just needs to find a little bit more to catch up to Napula at this current pace that Napula's doing. But obviously his tyres are going to die down at the end of the race, so it could be quite close.
Yellows in sector 2. Is that Joe, or is that... Oh, it was Billy! And Joe nearly careers into the back of his teammate. That could have been a monumental incident. But as we're talking there, Natty, Cash Stengel does the fastest lap of the race, and it's immediately beaten by Shankster. So as we're saying here, Cass trying to put the pressure now on Napula, trying to cause a response from the Finnish driver and cause him to use those tyres up more. He's 6 tenths down on his lap time. Cass is beginning to close the gap now.
Yeah, he's still got to do 8 laps on those mediums. As Thunder gets his way up ahead, JMB Suru up into 12th place, trying to recover after that earlier spin.
And the F1 lover going through Malmedy. Shankster still in the hot pursuit. 1.1 seconds now, 1 second now between them. Shankster's really closed up the gap on this most recent lap. And his gap to the lead stands at about 14.4 seconds. He's going to need a bit more pace, really, Natty, if he wants to win this.
Yeah, it was 16 seconds when he pitted, now 14.2. So he's going to have to try and find just a little bit more pace, maybe an extra 2, 3, 4 tenths a lap. But Napila's tyres are going to start to die down towards the end of his stint, so maybe that's when we'll see him in action.
Well, Natty, as you were saying, that gap out in front is now down to 2.3 seconds. Cass is really getting on with this now, as Napila doesn't have the pace to respond, it looks like, at the moment, through the bus stop chicane. Still leads this race, has led this race, Natty, since lap 1. Oh, Cass getting all kinds of out of shape on the exit of the bus stop. Shankster, though, closing on F1 lover still 7 tenths of a second, the gap between them. So go on to the home straight. DRS open, in the DRS zone now for Shankster. 8 laps to go, including this one as they cross the line, then lap 15 of 22. And F1, we count the lap that they're on as well as the laps remaining, which is why it's 7 and not, 8 and not, no, hang on, can't do maths. 8 and not 7, there you go. Over the crest now as Shankster opens the DRS. F1 lover's gone defensive very early, weaving to break the stitch. We can't do that too many times. Here comes Shankster. DRS open, looks to the inside line. On the Ghanaian, on the inside is a lock up. And F1 lover just managed to hold it now round the outside. But here comes Shankster, goes in sector 3 once again. As a racing point off at the pit entry, that's all fine now. As F1 lover makes the move stick round the outside of Shankster and keeps 4th position. Cass picks up a 3-second time penalty here, Natty, and he's dropped back now. That gap extending back out to 2.6 seconds. So Natty has found some pace on those mediums. Shankster needs to find a way past F1 lover into the middle second to go for a move on the inside into Fania corner on the inside. Shankster has to back out a bit as F1 lover goes across to take the racing line into the corner.
Yeah, great battles between F1 lover and Shankster. Ideally for Shankster, he needs to get past as soon as possible. I think Castone were making a mistake at the end of the Kemmel Straight, I think, is where he lost a lot of time. But talk about him pushing, is 2 laps ago he done a 45.9, and that was definitely a push lap, as his next lap was a 46.9, but he's definitely going quicker than Napila at this stage of the race, comparing the lap times.
And Shankster on the inside into the bus stop has to back out of it on this occasion here. Through the final corner now, DRS will be open once again for the Mercedes, but he's running out of time here, Natty. 6 laps to go as they cross, 7 laps ago as they cross the line, Nothing that Shankster can do into La Source. It's going to be a move down the Kemmel Straight if he wants to get up into 4th position.
But yeah, the slipstream, the DRS and the ERS is definitely really powerful around this track. Upper Rouge and Radion, and Shankster's gaining so much time already with the overtake. Now with the DRS, swoops past the Alfa Romeo and up into 4th place. And
nothing that F1 lover could do there. Shankster goes into P4. Let's see what he can do about that gap to Ben Roberts now in the final stages of this race.
And the gap to the leader, 13.8 seconds, so he's gained a bit now on Napila, but
it's not enough. It's not enough.
It's not enough, but he doesn't have any penalties at the minute, which could be crucial at the end of this race. Ben Roberts, though, 7.7 seconds behind Cash Dengel.
And just to take you through the penalties there, they are up on the screen. So Cass has picked up a 3-second time penalty, the same for Ben Roberts, as well as F1 lover, V Roby, Frozer, Tiger and Absolute, all picking up 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Ted picking up 3 as well, with Thunder picking up 6, Joe, JMB picking up 9, with Wolfie and Billy also picking up 6 seconds worth of penalties. Shankster is flying along here.
Yeah, the 2-stop looks to be quick. I'm not sure it's quick enough with only 22 laps in this race.
I would agree with you here, Natty. 3.1 seconds now separates Ben Roberts and Shankster, so Shankster could still get the podium. But you would think that he's thrown away his chance at the win. 45.3 for Shankster on that last lap. Certainly not a slow lap, but is it quick enough to get into the lead of the race, as Natula has really managed these tyres well here, Natty. That gap's opened up again now to 2.7 seconds, so a great race here from Natula. Thunder gets past Ted now as well in the battle for 11th and the battle for pride between the two Irish drivers. Thunder made...
Natula as well, we know he does these crazy strategies. He's done 11 laps in those mediums and he's gone a tenth and a half quicker in the first sector than his previous best. The game says he's only got 4 laps left in those tyres. In the race we've got 6 laps, so it's going to be interesting.
Code Masters is AWS apparently. But yeah, as you say here, Natty, he's just done an excellent job of looking after those tyres, managing the gap when he has to Cash Dingle. It seems like everything that Cass throws at absolute level, he just has a response for it somehow. That being said, the gap is now down to 2.2 seconds and it is still closing.
Yeah, and so crucially for Natula, he does not have a time penalty. He does have 2 warnings though, so another corner cut and will be gifted with a lovely 3-second time penalty, which I'm sure Cass would enjoy. It might give him some more encouragement, some determination to push, but the gap is now under 2 seconds, 1.9, 1.8 seconds. I think Cash is starting to put the foot down a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's realised now if he wants to win this race, he's got to get on with this now. 5 laps to go, including this one in the battle for the lead. 2 seconds now separates Cass and Natula. I think you're right, Natty. Cass is getting on with this. He's picking up the pace, 1.7. Let's see how much Gavra can close the gap on his rival in this race. His championship rival, Absolute 11, down in 9th position, and unless something drastic happens, it doesn't look like that will be changing for the German.
And I think Natula has seen this push from Cash Dingle. His tyres as well will be going off. He's starting to use his overtake a little bit more in the past few laps. A gap 1.7 seconds. And, well, Natula's going to be hoping that his medium tyres can keep him going till the end of the race.
Thunder and Spannel also very close together. Joe's retired! Joe's out! And that is a manual retirement, I think, in the pit lanes. That would be another 0-point finish then for Joe in the racing point. Oh, Thunder! Had to back up going into Rouge. And now DRS opened for the Red Bull. Down the Kemmel straight. Will he pull to the inside? Does Spannel defend? No, he doesn't. These two came together in France. Will they crash again here in Belgium? They're going to go wheel to wheel into Le Combe. Spannel keeps it around the outside. And Thunder really needs to force the issue there, but didn't choose to. But that gap out in front now, Natty, down to 1.1 seconds. Just as we were saying, Natty, that Natty's doing such a good job of looking after his tyres and maintaining the gap. Cash Dingle has upped the ante once again, and now Natula looks to be the one on the back foot here.
Yeah, those mediums are definitely going off. We saw those soft tyres go off after 5-6 laps, so I thought that was quite early for those tyres to go off. Here comes Thunderdale and Spannel into, well, after Pouon had such a good run through Pouon, and now they've got the move done down the inside of the Renault up into the points.
And that was a nice move there from Thunder on Spannel. And crucially here, Natty, with about 4 laps left to run, including this one, Natula has denied Cash Dingle the chance for DRS down the Kemmel straight, and in fact, the gap's nearly open to 2 seconds once again. What's happened to Cash Dingle in that lap?
It might have made a mistake down at turn 1, because that gap's gone up by 6/10 or so. Didn't look like he got a good run down a Rouge on Radio, and it doesn't seem to be comfortable on those hard tyres, but I'm sure Natula's not feeling comfortable on those mediums either.
A big slider for Cass on the exit of Malmedy. I think he's realising now that there's a bigger battle at stake here, because for him, Natty, this is an excellent race. Still, second or first, regardless, he's going to pull back a massive chunk of Absolute 11's championship lead here in the Premier Series.
Yeah, as it stands, picking up 18 points. As Shankster actually has the fastest lap, but now, crucially, is within the DRS range of Natula.
Literally, as we say it, he goes and proves us wrong again then. So Cash Dingle closing the gap on Natula through the final sector, flat out to the left-hander of Longchamp on lap 19 of 22. Shankster is also closing the gap to Ben Roberts now, but you would argue that he is definitely out of this battle for P1 here as we go on to lap 20. We're getting towards the end of the lifespan of those medium tyres, or so the game would have us think. Cass is so much later on the brakes into the source than Napula can be. Let's have a look back now from the leader of this race. Oh, if we can. No, we can't apparently. Oh, there we go. And now up Rouge and Mazion, we can see the Alfa Romeo behind us. Cass will have the DRS. It flicks open for the Dutch driver down the back straight. 0.5 of a second in the battle for the lead of the race. Napler will go defensive. He will defend this from Cass. Nothing that the Dutchman can do on this occasion. That 20 of 22. Cass is running out of time. Don't forget, he also has that 3-second time penalty, which means that even if he overtakes Napula, he will have to pull out a gap of about 3 seconds to maintain the lead of the race. He had a look into a no-name there, did Cash Stengel, but decides to back out of it. Rise driving there from the Alfa Romeo. And into Pujon now. They're still so close together. This could be an absolutely monumental battle for the lead of this race in the dying stages of the Belgian Grand Prix here in the Premier Series. Let's hope it doesn't end like it ended for Napula and 1 shoot 2 down in Season 1. I mean, it's the same cars. Napula was the Haas and the Alfa Romeo. 2/10 now to go through the final sector. Is Cass going to go for a move into Blanchamon? He's all over the gearbox of Napula now, so head through the flat out left-hander. Cass is going to look for a move into the Boston, but is he going to look to the outside line? Napula goes defensive now into the final chicane. Cass round the outside, late braking, and gets the move done on the fin. What a move from Cash Stengel round the outside at the bus stop. What a move. But now Napula will have the DRS back on Cash Stengel down the Kemmel straight. That could be crucial in the outcome of this battle. And that's 21 of 22, a battle for the lead here in the Belgian Grand Prix. That's right on board now with Napula. He's gotten a good exit out of turn 1 and now up the hill and onto the Kemmel straight. Napula's nursed these medium tyres now for 15 laps. DRS flicks over for the fin. He's going to try and pay back Cash Stengel immediately for that move. Cash goes defensive very late. Napula's going to go to the outside. Can Napula swoop round the outside of the Alfa Romeo? Cass breaks very late. They're going wheel to wheel into Lecom. What a battle this is, but Napula has to back out there as Cass had the better tire life, had the better grip, got the traction into Malmedy and keeps the lead.
What great racing from the two leaders, but Schwankster was all over the back of Ben Roberts before making a mistake in the first sector. His teammate Frozer getting past V Roby at the end of the Kemmel straight, with Williams getting it all wrong in the braking point there, just locking up and losing time to the Mercedes. But this battle up front is definitely not over yet.
Definitely not, Natty, but don't forget, Cass still needs a gap of about 3 seconds back to Napula. He's only got 0.8 of a second at the moment, so Napula knows it just needs to keep this on the track now and just get to the end of this race within that 3-second window, and he will still take the win here this evening. Shankster, after that mistake, has dropped back 2.1 seconds now between himself and Ben Roberts, but Shankster can still get on the podium based off of penalties as well. Napula needs to not track extend at any point now in the final lap of this race. He's over a second behind Cash Stengel, so he won't have that DRS advantage down the main straight. And absolute leather's completely out of it. He's in 9th position and trying to close the gap down to Tiger Assassin, but that's been a terrible race for Absolute. He spun out in the early stages of this race and now finds himself down with 2 points as it stands at the moment. Napula has been able actually now here to stay within the DRS detection zone of Cash Stengel as they head up Mazion for the final time here. Nearly track extends there, but he's gaining on that Cash Stengel by such a rate, and Cass has got nothing to defend with here. Napula's coming back at Cass now into Lecom once again. He's going to go around the outside. Yes, he is. Cass has got no ERS to play with. I think Natty Cass might be out of fuel. The red light is on for Cash Stengel. He's running out of fuel on the last lap of the race, but he's still going to try and fight this move from Napula, and he's tried to go down the inside at Bruxelles. Nothing doing there. He's only got a few corners left. Try and make this move and then pull out a 3-second gap, because don't forget he has that penalty still. And now Cash Stengel down the hill towards Pujon. Napa's taken the lead on track, but it's on very, very old medium tyres. If those have a puncture, I will absolutely lose my start there on the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix. And now Napula still managing to keep it together ahead of Cash Stengel, but Cash had the better exit now off of Vanya and into Stavelot. Nothing that Cash can do here, there's too much dirt. Yeah, through the second stage of Stavelot now and down this mini back straight away as I nearly wheel to wheel as I come out of that section and now blasting towards Blanchimont for the final time here in the Premier Series. Cash Stengel, can he look for a move into the bus stop? Can he try and get back past Nakpula, at least on track? He will claim to have had the victory. He's going to send it up the inside, Natty, and he's nearly spotted taking himself out. He's going to get the drive to the line, but Nakpula keeps it around the outside. Nakpula takes the win. Nakpula takes the win, and what a win it was. It looks like that Ben Roberts won't finish on the podium. Shanksa has got no penalties, and Shanksa takes another podium finish and the fastest lap of the race. F1 Lover is going to be in 5th, Froza in 6th, and wow, what a battle to the end that was, a battle to the death between Cash Stengel and Nakpula. Froza will pick up 6th position, V Roby in 7th. It looks like Tiger Assassin as well will hold on to 8th, went forward from his grid slot. He'll be quite happy with that performance. He's going to hold on to 4 points here in the Premier Series. Absolute 11, Natty. That is a big day in the championship. He goes into P8 on penalties, but that gap out in front for him has come down dramatically. Thunder, what could have been had he had not spun, he still gains a point from this race, but no, he doesn't, because Spanel moves ahead of him on penalties. Ted will finish in 12th. It looks like J&B, Surreal and Wolfie going wheel to wheel for P13. Where did this come from now? As Wolfie on the inside into the ball stop chicane. Can he break later? Yes, he can. He's on the inside of J&B Surreal. J&B gets a drive round the outside though, and on the inside line edges Wolfie out towards the line. He's going to finish in P13. I have no idea about the penalties. It's still going to be J&B Surreal as he crosses the line, and Billy Meese on his first appearance in Gavra racing, he's going to finish outside of the points in 15th position. But what a race from that. That was a beautiful drive.
Stunning job from the Haas driver, taking those mediums 18 or 17 laps. I can't remember exactly how far, but he took them 2 or 3 laps over the expected lifespan. V Roby gets the driver of the day. Nakpula as well, picking up the poles driver of the day. V Roby getting the in-game driver of the day. What a race to the end.
Wow. It kind of quietened down towards the middle, but as we said, Natty, the cars converging on different tyre strategies, and look what race it brought us here. That was an amazing race.
And Absolute's championship lead has now come down from 23 to 9 points.
That is huge going into the last few races of the season. So from winning the opening 3 races in a row, Natty, you've got a championship battle on our hands. It is this man, Cash Stengel, versus Absolute 11 in the battle for the championship here in the Premier Series. But let's take you through the finishing order then. Nakpula takes his first win of the season from Cash Stengel in 3rd. Shanksa tried the 2-stop, but it didn't quite pay off for him. He finishes in 3rd. Ben Roberts in 4th. F1 Lover 5th. Froza in 6th. Roby going from last to P7. That's a great drive from V Roby, the Hungarian there. Absolute 11 damage limitation for him. He'll be in 8th ahead of Tiger in 9th, and Spanel rounds out the top 10. Thunder 50-50 in 11th, Ted in 12th, J&B Surreal 13th, Wolfie 14th, Billy Misu 15th, and then our non-finishers today were Bon Evil, Joe and Guillotine, who all failed to finish the race. But if we have about 3 or 4 more races like that, sign me up. This could be an epic finish to the Premier Series, and we hope that you have all enjoyed. We'll get some instant race reaction now from the chat as well. Well done to Nakpula as well. That was the first win of the season, first win in a while, I think over a year here in Gavra Racing. Wins 100% of the fan vote for driver of the day, so obviously very popular among the people. I agree with you, it was definitely a great race. We will be saying GG everyone, a good recovery drive from him as well. Robert Kotov would like to know what percentage Nakpula's tyres were. They're about 72 to 75%, so Nakpula there was really in danger of picking up a puncture. Fraser not over the moon with P6, a still a very solid drive from the Dutchman in the Mercedes. Thunder, it's alright, he'll bounce back for Monza, but that was a crazy race. Great job to all the drivers, I agree. Velocity. What about you, Natty? What do you think about that?
Yeah, really good race, and one that could turn the championship round with Absolute down in 8th place, and Cash Stengel on a really good run of form, 2 wins and 1 second place in the last 3 races, and the championship fight is now on.
Yep, definitely. This has been a big moment for the championship here, but it is not over yet. For your action this week, join Tiger and Dutchy tomorrow. They'll be in the commentary box once again here at the lovely Spa-Francorchamps circuit at 8:30 for the Super League. Mares leads the way in that one, and me and Nancy also race. And Nancy, if you want to see her step out of the commentary box into some virtual Formula 1 cars, tune in tomorrow at 8:30. Then there's no GT Sport this week. That's coming next week around the Nürburgring in Group 2. We're on a break week this week, so thank you, Natty, for that. But on Sunday, be sure to join our new commentators, ND and Zetzify, taking you through all of the weekend league action for that. But from me and Natty, and from Gavra Racing this evening, and what's an amazing race. We had nothing but amazing races in the Premier Series this season. I haven't had any complaints about any of them. I don't think they've all been incredible.
Yeah, really good stuff tonight.
Yeah, certainly. And we'll see you in a fortnight's time, where we will be in Monza for the final chapter of the Premier Series. Who's going to come out on top? Will it be Cash 10 or will it be Absolute 11? Well, we'll find out in Monza. Goodbye, guys, from me and Natty. Good evening, and, well, yeah, goodbye.